One of you sent me these patterns asking if I could take a look at how to make this kind of bead ball. She wasn't sure how to read the pattern or what to do with it, so I thought it might be easier to just make a video since this could be helpful for others as well. It's a bit tricky to explain it all in writing. I chose this first pink pattern, though honestly both patterns are fundamentally the same. I printed out this pink one, and here it is. I also prepared some beads in roughly matching colors. They are not exact, but I think they will work just fine for the demonstration. So let's try making this together. So this is a bead crochet pattern and it comes from the Beaded Bead Designer software. As far as I know, the website for the software no longer exists and you can't download it anymore. I still have all installations saved on my computer. However, I don't actually use this program. As I've mentioned in some of my previous videos, it just doesn't work well for me. It's okay for small beaded balls, but when it comes to larger bead balls, it doesn't generate the bead list very well. Now, there might be a small issue with this pattern, as it seems to have been downloaded from Pinterest or somewhere similar. So here's the final design, and here's the chart. But to complete, this pattern should also come with a bead list, which is missing in both this and the second pattern. But that's okay, we'll make do without it. We'll just have to read directly from the visual chart. I've got the beads ready, so let's get started. For this, I'm using Toho round bead size 11/0. I'll also need a big eye needle, which makes it easier to thread the beads. And here I have some 30 weight thread. This is the thread I saw on Etsy. I've already used some of it, I think for a bead crochet bag, purse or something. So there's a little less of it left. Now let's string the beads according to the pattern. But before we start stringing, see here on the right? These are the row numbers. I like to prepare little paper strips with the row numbers on them, which I will string instead of beads at first. This helps me keep track of the pattern and ensures I don't get lost, so I know exactly which row I'm working on. I also made some notes for myself about what to do in each row, but I will include them in the video for you. I will rewrite them so you don't have to try to read my scribbles. I label them like this: R1 for row 1, R2 for row 2, and so on. I'll cut these into small rectangles. This is especially helpful for longer patterns, as it makes it much easier to stay organized. For smaller projects, this step isn't as crucial, but for bigger, more complex patterns, it's really handy. So, I will take the thread and put it through the big eye needle. Now, how are we going to string this? You can see the stringing direction here, so we'll be stringing from left to right, row by row. First, we will string these 6 beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. That's our first row. Then 2 beads at a time, so 12 in total. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. That's row 2. And we'll continue this way all the way down. If I remember correctly, in the software it was possible to change the stringing direction, so it's not always left to right. Just follow the direction indicated in the pattern. If the stringing direction points left, you'd string from right to left. But here we are stringing left to right. So I will cover this part up and start stringing. I will string 6 of these light beads. Pull them down and add the R1 paper slip. In the second row, we need 12 of these light beads, so I will string 12 of them. Now we have 12 beads strung. I'll cut the paper for row 2. So we have completed stringing row 2. In the next row, we have 18 light beads. I'll string them. And again, add the paper with the row number. So far, it looks like this. Let's keep going. Next, we have 6 light beads. then 2 dark, then 1 lighter bead, 1 dark bead, followed by 8 light beads. Two dark ones, 1 lighter, 1 dark, and 2 more light beads. Finally, I'll add the row 4 label. Here's how it looks with everything strung so far. We'll continue stringing in the same way until we reach the last bead. I will string the rest off camera. Here's what it looks like fully strung. We start with row 1 here and we finish with row 12. Now we'll set this aside and begin crocheting from the side, starting with row 12. Usually I label my patterns the other way around, but for this one I will follow the way it's written. And now let me explain the principle behind it, because we'll be doing some increases and I want to make sure you understand how it works. Since we are crocheting a bead ball, we will first make a magic ring and then crochet 6 beads into the magic ring. This will be our first row. In the second row, we will crochet 2 beads into the same stitch for each bead from the previous row. This will give us 6 increases. In the next row, we'll do 1 single crochet and then 1 increase. That means 2 single crochets into 1 stitch. In the following row, we will do 2 single crochets and then 1 increase. We will repeat this 6 times since the bead ball has 6 peaks. This will bring us to a total of 24 beads or stitches in one row. We'll continue in this way. In all these rows we will have 24 stitches. Then we will start doing decreases. I usually do the decrease in the first stitch. I will show you how to do it. After that we will do 2 single crochets. In the next row we will do a decrease followed by 1 single crochet. We will repeat this 6 times as well because we have 6 peaks. The general rule is that I do increases at the end of each of the 6 peaks and decreases at the beginning of each peak. You can do it differently for a slightly different effect, but we will stick to this simple method, which most bead ball makers use. Now let me show you how it all works in practice. We'll start with the magic ring. I'm using a very small crochet hook, 0.5 millimeters. For most people this is quite small, so use whatever hook works best for you. I have my magic ring here and we'll be crocheting in continuous rounds because this pattern allows it. You can tell because the pattern on the right side doesn't directly connect with the left side. I have explained this in more detail in another video, which I will link here, so I won't go into it too much. But basically, since the pattern doesn't connect at the sides, we can work in continuous rounds, which is easier. Just like with amigurumi toys, which are mostly crocheted in continuous rounds. So I will start with row 12. I have prepared the first 6 beads and pull them down. If you want more detailed tutorials on single crochet, I have separate videos for that on my channel. I'll demonstrate it here briefly, but for more depth you can find plenty of tutorials there. So I insert the hook into the magic ring, slide 1 bead down, yarn over, pull through 1 loop, yarn over again, and pull through both loops. And now we have 1 stitch. We'll repeat this with the remaining beads. Insert the hook into the magic ring, slide a bead down, yarn over, pull through 1 loop, yarn over again, and pull through both loops. Now we have crocheted 6 beads into the magic ring. I'll pull on the tail to tighten the ring, but not too tightly. We want to leave a bit of space. And here we have our first row done. Next we'll crochet row 11. I'll slide the beads down. For this row we'll be doing increases, which means we will crochet 2 beads into each stitch. Yes, it's a bit fiddly work. Here's the first bead stitch, so I'll insert my hook and do a basic single crochet with beads. Now I'll insert the hook into the same stitch. And again, I will do a single crochet with beads. That's our first increase. We'll do the same in the second stitch, which is here. It might look a bit tricky at first, but once you get through the first 3 rows, you've got it. The hardest part is just getting oriented in the stitches. There's our second increase. Here's the stitch of the third bead, and again I will crochet 2 beads into the same stitch. I'm not sure how well you can see this, but we have 2, 4, 6 beads left, which means we need 3 more increases. 1, 2, and 3. And here's the start of the row. 1, 2, 3 stitches. If you are doing this for the first time, it might help to try with a thicker thread and larger beads so you can clearly see what's going on. But once you get to the third row, the stitches will be much easier to see. The tricky part is just getting started. Now for the last stitch. If you are unsure, I recommend using a stitch marker or marking it with a different color of thread. I have found some yarn here, so I will use it as a stitch marker. I'll insert it into the last step of the last single crochet in the row, and this will mark the end of the row. Here's how it looks from the other side so far. It might not look like much yet, and you can see I still have a little opening here. I will pull the tail a bit more to close it up. Now it's tighter. We'll continue with the next row. So now we have row 10. In row 10 we will do 1 single crochet followed by 1 increase. We will repeat this 6 times, which will give us 18 stitches or 80 beads in one row. So 1 single crochet, then 1 increase, here we are, we've done 1 single crochet and 1 increase. Now let's move on to the next peak. Now we are at the next peak, 2 green beads and 1 pink. I think at this point the individual stitches are much easier to see. So a 1 single crochet and 1 increase. Again, one single crochet, and in the next stitch an increase. Into the same loop again, now I've got the last 3 beads left, so I will do one single crochet here, and in this last stitch I will do an increase. Once again, I will stop one step before the end, and you can see my stitch marker here. That means we are on track. I'll just remove it and move it up to the last stitch, making sure it doesn't get in the way. Alright, we've finished another row. We will continue the same way in the next row, which is row 9. Here we will do 2 single crochets and 1 increase. We will repeat this 6 times until we reach 24 stitches in total. Let me show you the beginning again. 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, and an increase. Into the same loop again, and repeat this 6 times. So that's how row 9 looks when it's done. You can see it's starting to take a nice shape now. The stitches are also much easier to see. Next we have row 8, and here we won't do any increases. We'll simply crochet 24 single crochet stitches. We'll continue like this until we reach row 4. Then in row 3 there will be a change. So I will just insert my hook into the next stitch and make a single crochet. I will continue this way until I reach the paper marker with row 3. And then I will show you what to do next. Here's how it looks crocheted so far. I have finished up to row 4. Now we are on row 3, where I'll be doing an invisible decrease. Before I start, I need to fill it with something. I have a 40mm bead here that fits perfectly, so I place it inside and begin decreasing. For the invisible decrease, I will turn 2 stitches into 1. Here are the next 2 loops. I will insert the hook into the back loops only. First back loop, then the second back loop. I slide a bead down, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, and pull through both loops. That's one invisible decrease. And now I will do 2 single crochet stitches. One, and 2. I'll show it again. So we need to make a decrease with the next 2 loops. I insert the hook into the first back loop only, then the second back loop only. I slide a bead down, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, and pull through both loops. Now to the next loop, and I will do 2 single crochet stitches. 1, and 2. Then I will do another decrease in the same manner. Back loops only. Slide a bead down, pull through 2 loops, and pull through both loops. We'll continue this way until the end of the row. If it's more comfortable for you, you can insert the hook into both loops instead or just the back loops. That can be easier. Alternatively, you can skip one loop entirely and crochet into the second. It really depends on what feels more comfortable for you and also on the size of your thread. So this is how it looks when we have completed row 3. We only have 2 rows left, so let's move on to row 2. Here we will do one invisible decrease and then one single crochet. Again, I will do this using the back loops only. Pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and then do one single crochet stitch. We'll repeat this until the end of the row. Now we are on the last row, where we will do just 6 decreases. We will do these in the same manner as in the previous rows, which means we'll be using the back loops only. This can be a bit fiddly. We will keep going until we reach the end of the row, and then I will show you how to finish it off. So we have now completed the last row. I will remove the stitch marker, cut the thread, pull out the hook, and thread it back onto a needle. I will stitch through the back loops only, going from the center outwards. Which such small work, it can be hard to see what's happening. The end might not look very nice since it's such a tiny ball. You can also take the last 6 beads like this. 4, 5, 6 and stitch them together. With these small crocheted balls, there's a bit of a problem. I will weave in the ends, hide them, and then cut the threads. I will also hide the other tail. So this is what the result looks like. The issue with these small crocheted balls is that the finish isn't always perfect. You can see a little bit of the thread. That's why, as you can see in this photo, there is a bead cap and another bead to cover that part. That's how it's done, and we'll do the same. I will also add a bead. I won't use a bead cap, but I will include a bead to make earrings. So I will take a head pin. Here's the beginning, so I will thread it through the part where we have the hole. It seems I've lost the hole for a moment. Here it is. The bead inside has a hole, so if you have lost it, just guide the hole back to the center. I will insert the head pin like this. Now I will add the bead here. You can also cover it a bit more with another bead or add the bead cap. I will trim it a bit. Now I will make a loop here and insert the earring hook, then close it. And here we go! I've created a lovely pair of earrings. Once it's covered up, you can't see that part anymore. I think the earrings turned out great and look very pretty. Thank you so much for sticking with me throughout this tutorial. If you enjoyed what you saw today and found it helpful, I would really appreciate it if you could give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Your support means the world to me and helps me keep creating more content for all of you. I have this special box where I'm gradually adding all of my creations, and I'm excited to announce that once we reach 100,000 subscribers, I'll be hosting a giveaway. One lucky viewer will get the chance to win the entire box filled with my handmade goodies. So be sure to share this channel with your friends and help spread the word. In addition to BeadCrochet, I've got a variety of tutorials lined up, so if you are interested in expanding your crafting skills, make sure to check out the other videos on my channel. I cover everything from basic techniques to more advanced projects, and I'm always excited to share new ideas with you. If you'd like to follow my work more closely, you can find me on social media. I share behind-the-scenes content, sneak peeks of upcoming projects and more, so be sure to connect with me there. It's a great way to stay updated and join our creative community. And for those of you who want to dive even deeper into my crafting journey, consider becoming a patron on Patreon or a premium member right here on YouTube. Your support allows me to produce even more high-quality content and explore new projects that I can share with you. Once again, thank you for watching. I can't wait to see you in the next video. Happy crafting, and don't forget to keep creating beautiful things.